Hello, I'm Kieran McBride, the co-founder of Po3, along with my business partner Phil Sherwin-Nichols. This is a short video explainer about our reason for being. What is our purpose? How are we different? How do we deliver? What is it that we're actually trying to achieve, and what kind of problems can we solve? Thanks for taking a look. Phil and I worked together for many years on projects such as creating Mindset Shift with executive leaderships of the world's largest institutions, helping them understand new and emerging technologies and ways of working and how it was going to affect their businesses, their business models, and how they could adapt their organizations. We worked together on things like embedding startup culture, lean innovation culture, product culture. So how do teams work together to create new products, propositions, services, ideas, and how do you deliver them and de-risk doing that when things are changing so quickly? We worked on product and proposition accelerators. So how do you go from idea to scalable proposition in the market within weeks, not months and years? And we worked on skills and capabilities. If your organization is designed right and you have great talent in the business, how do you maintain that level of productivity by ensuring the workforce always has the relevant skill set when things like data science, quantum, blockchain, IoT, innovation methodologies are all changing all the time? So that's the background on us. But why the need for Po3? Well, our skill set was very much in demand, yes, but actually Phil and I are just problem solvers. We like complex problems and we like to solve them. But we saw that the market where we worked were perhaps solving the wrong problems. So problems exist because there is an unmet need. Lots of people look at meeting the needs of the business, so perhaps creating profitability, meeting the needs of shareholders, investors, or the need of simply being a business and creating profit margins. Other people look at the needs of consumers, so where is the consumer problem? Where's a problem that people are finding difficulty? Because if you solve that problem, you're doing good by the individual, but you're also going to create adoption, because if you do something useful, people will use it and adopt your product or service. And then you have a fairly progressive area, which is solving the needs of the market. So what is the future of healthcare? What is the future of finance? What is the future of automotive, for instance? How do you shed all those kind of legacy ways of working and systems where you've built up a business that's perhaps steeped in structures and systems that were last century? And how do you disrupt the market? So startup culture, doing something new and innovative. But what we saw is there were a large number of unmet needs, so socio-economic. So basically, if we continue to just look at meeting the needs of the individual, profit, or what's the newest, shiniest way of meeting greater market needs, we're completely ignoring the needs of humans, the environment, of our socio-economic structures. And actually, most of the business practices erode or are detrimental to those. So if you have unethical business practice by creating a very efficient and profitable business, but you don't give employees purpose, you don't give them a reason to be, and you actually treat them very badly, you cause internal ecosystem collapse and your business will not be successful. If you create an unethical business in terms of perhaps not having a sustainable supply chain, unsustainable fashion, perhaps, for instance, then you create consumer confidence ecosystem collapse. Your consumer market erodes, and then you don't have a business or business revenues. If you simply are unethical by plundering resources from the environment, then you literally create ecosystem collapse, because we live on a finite planet with a finite level of resource. You cannot do any of these things. So it not only makes sense to think, okay, how can we create profit? How can we meet a consumer need? How can we be innovative and change the market? But how can we do that sustainably, i.e. the things we do, we can continue to do without being detrimental? So there are fairly well-established ways of identifying business needs, consumer needs, market needs. But what are the wider kind of socio-economic or human needs that we need to start tackling in order for us to create a better world or create positive impact and outcomes? Well, we looked at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are a consensus around the 17 things that we need to focus on in order to create equality and a good life for all. Now, we use these as a basis for our ideations when we're coming up with new products, services, propositions, new ventures, or when we're trying to establish the direction a business should go, when we're recreating or disrupting the market. Then this is a framework in which we work, ensuring the positive outcome. Now, we've put this under the banner of purpose-driven design. So essentially, if you're creating a proposition, a product or a service that meets a need for an individual, someone trying to get their bus pass or access their finances or achieve some kind of goal, then you're doing something to meet a need, not simply to make a buck. If you design organizations to give people, employees, purpose, accountability, ownership, responsibility, you are doing something purposeful. You give them a reason to be there, a reason for them to be involved. If you create a new proposition in the market, and yes, you want it to be profitable, and yes, you want it to meet a need, and you're designing the future your industry, but you do it so that you can help benefit society more widely, so our socio-economic structures, our environment. So what kind of problems does Po3 focus on? Well, we've broken, as you may imagine, it into 3 sections. So internal problems. So how do you give purpose to an organization? How do you align everybody behind a consensus as to what they're doing, why they're doing it? How does everybody from leadership to frontline employees understand what their role is to play? How does it affect them? How does it affect their colleagues? How does it affect the exterior environment? The second area is external problems. So how do you create new propositions, products, services? How do you do it quickly, make sure it's technically, commercially viable, and that it's having a positive impact? The third piece is systemic socio-economic problems. So this is really the most interesting, where we think we can have the most impact. So how can you work with public, private, charity sector to come together to solve systemic issues? Because no problem can be solved in a silo. You can't look at one part of a complex problem and think you can fix it. You have to look at it holistically as a whole. Thanks for watching. That was a quick run through of our proposition. And if you do want to get in touch, if you found anything remotely interesting or incredibly interesting, or actually you want to contest or argue about things, get in touch, because the whole point is we don't have all the answers. Not everyone knows everything. You need a plurality of perspectives in order to solve complex problems. So do get in touch. You can get me on kieran.mcbride@po3.ventures. Twitter handle is po3_ventures. We're on LinkedIn. If you sign up to the email newsletter, you'll get not only eConsultancy's Guide to Rapid Innovation, which we wrote at a previous consultancy, but you'll get all of our IP delivered to you every Friday, a serialized open source book on purpose-driven design. You also get an invite to the Slack group, so you can chat to us all day, every day there if you want to. But yeah, get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. And yeah, perhaps one day we'll have a chat. Cheers. Thanks.